Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Good evening. It's Mindy here. So I just want to make sure that you can hear me loud and clear. If you can actually hear me, can you just leave a comment? If you guys can hear me loud and clear, could you just leave a comment? Okay, great. So you guys can hear me, yeah? So we're going to start this session right now. So welcome everyone to the first group coaching call for Grow Rich with Bazi. I read through some of your comments and all of you seem really excited with your newfound knowledge and you have a lot of questions that you actually want to address want us to address. So today we will try to address as much as possible. So before we start, I think there are some ground rules that we just need to go through. The first slide. Okay, so before we start, there are some ground rules that we need to establish. So these are the rules of the game, and all participants, you have to abide by these rules during the session. Is for us to be able to really answer all your questions, and we are here to actually assist you to understand the knowledge more. Okay, so there are no trolls and you cannot go off topic. So there are no free readings, no free advice or no consultation sort of questions that are allowed. Yeah. So also no direct or indirect promoting. Don't spam. No videos, FB live or links allowed in the comment section. So be clear about your questions, and lastly, be friendly. Okay, so we are going to start the session now because we have quite a number of questions to cover. Okay, so we're going to start with a question from Olivia. Olivia wants to know if artistic activities such as painting, dancers, singers are related to which of the 5 elements. So Olivia is actually related to the wood element. Next question. How do I know which is the favorable element in the chart and which is the unfavorable element? Okay, so basically in Bazi, if you are a weak day master, the favorable elements are your friend, the companion, and also the resource. So resource and companion is more favorable for weaker charts. How do you know if you're weak or you're strong? Just look at your friend, percentage of your friend. If it's about 50% and below, you are slightly weaker. So your favorable elements would be resource and companion. If you're a bit stronger, which is above 50%, that would be your wealth, your influence, and also your output. Okay. Oops. Okay, so can the influential field in my Bazi chart change when I grow older? Yes, because you have luck pillars, you also have annual pillars coming in. So every time the luck pillar changes or when there's an annual energy that comes in, it alters a little bit of the percentage. If you actually notice, it does alter slight percentages here and there. So it will not change in a substantial amount, but yes, it will change. Okay, so Jolene wants to know, I have a small DW sign in my hour pillar. Does that count as a wealth star? If yes, what is the difference between the big and the small sign? Okay, the big one is actually the main chi. The small ones we call sub chi. So having a DW in your hour pillar, it does count as a well star. The difference is that the main chi is always more dominant and the sub chi is less dominant. I also have a DW in other pillars. What do they mean? So if you followed the course, Dato did mention that if you have it in other pillars, it actually shows what kind of environment or what sort of corporation that you should be, you will have more potential in, as in like example, if you have your wealth in the year, then you are more suited in a very multinational, huge corporation, that sort of environment. If you have in a month, then it's a smaller company, about 100, 200 people. So if you have it in different pillars, that's what it means. Yeah. For the third question, I find the influential parts confusing. Dato mentioned if our element matches the field, job is easier for us, but may not bring the most money in. What does that mean? How would I know which field brings me most money if I am not afraid of hardship? Okay, so Jolene, just to have a recap, Dato did mention in the course that when you are following the field of maximum return, he did mention that it will not be easy. It's the area of your most opportunities, but it may not be easy. So that if you are not afraid of hardship, like you mentioned, always follow the one that is the highest in your chart. So either the structure that is the highest, or the one in the month pillar. The month pillar is always, one of it will always be the highest because it's in your month pillar. That already determines the strength of your entire chart. Okay, so which field brings most money? If you're not afraid of hardship, then follow the strongest element that you have, strongest structure or the strongest profile you have. Follow that one. Okay, useful God as described in book 1-2 is useful, or not as told in module 1. We use the most influential element as the field of wealth pursuit, even if it's an unfavorable element in the case. Okay, I'm not sure if this is a question or a statement, to be honest. If in the case of earth element, if the season is winter, then can we use it? Okay, if earth element and the season is winter, I'm quite sure there are other elements in your chart as well that you can also look into, because if earth is there, I'm sure there's definitely more than one element together with it. So even if it's in the winter, there's definitely one that will be quite strong. Then you can actually opt to use that one. Okay, next one. Most of my friends do not know their time of birth. So how do they know if they have IW or DW or friend in their pillar? Unfortunately, you will not know, because if you are looking for, depends on what your intention is. Yeah, if you are just looking to see the compulsion, then you will not be able to see it because you don't have the time. But there are other things that you can actually focus on, as in which area they should be working in, which field they are more suited in, which industry. Those are the things that you can actually look into. So instead of focusing on the compulsion, just the compulsion, you can also look at other things. Yeah. So don't let what you don't know stop you from picking up things that you can actually find out more about. Yeah. Okay, next one. I understand that if you want to see whether you have compulsion to be rich or not, you can find the hour, correct? On the example, it's on the main chi. How about the sub chi? If this these three elements actually are your sub-qi instead of your main qi. It's also usable. It's just that whenever it's in a sub-qi, it's a bit more hidden, as in it's a bit more harder to discover it because you actually need certain experiences or you need certain trigger points in life. You have to go through something in order to trigger it. So you actually need some sort of life experience to actually activate the sub-qi. So it's a little bit harder than the main qi. Okay, Ivy wants to know, I'm working in a shared service center of a chemical company. Am I in a chemical industry or a shared service industry? Okay, to answer that first, you're actually in the chemical industry, yeah? Is chemical industry under earth element? Chemical is actually under fire. How about shared service? Okay, shared service is quite a broad term because it can be a few things. It can be a HR shared service center, it can be an IT shared service center, also can be a finance shared service center. So you didn't really specify, but in general, any sort of service that you're providing, it should fall under the fire. Okay, next question. When I plot a Peng Day master chart with no friend star appearing, okay, there's also a 48% friend star appearing on the 10 god. Okay, page summary, I assume. Is this because of the Peng Day master? Yes, definitely. If so, considering the positioning, where does it position itself? I'm assuming your chart, you are a Peng fire day and you have no Peng any other Peng in your chart at all. So your Peng is only in the day master. Where does it position itself? So I'm assuming that it only exists in the day pillar. So can it be considered as a well star? At the moment, we are only looking at the month and the hour. Okay, so it is not considered as the well star if we are looking at it from this perspective. Yeah. Any difference if DW or IW appears in the branches of the natal chart, or both appearance represents the compulsion to source for wealth with no difference? Uh, okay, I am assuming that you're asking if DW or IW matters, the difference matters or not. At the moment, it doesn't matter. As long as you have one, either one, or you have both in the hour or in the month, then it's considered. Okay. If there's no well star in any of our four pillars, does this mean that we don't have wealth capacity? Actually, Melissa, if you don't have any wealth star in any of your pillar, right, it actually means that you yourself do not have the compulsion in the first place, no compulsion, and also you don't view money as something that important. I mean, it's important, but it's not a priority in your life. So I'm sure there are other things that are more important to you, and money is not one of the most important thing. That's why it doesn't exist in your chart. So all these things, all the elements actually exist in our Bazi chart, is showing us our how we think, how we function, also how we perceive things. So when there's totally no wealth star in your chart, totally none, means to you money does not really matter so much. There are other things that are way more important to you. So that's what it means. What element does architecture and pharmacy belong to? Okay, so architecture, right? There are two. I'm not sure if you are in the designing or in the construction part of architecture. If you are in the construction part, then it would be earth. If you're more on the designing part of architecture, then it will be wood. Pharmacy actually belongs to fire element. Which element does security for trade comes under government services? Government services itself is earth because it's a huge conglomerate and it's based on trust. Yeah, it's based on the trust of the citizens. Security is also based on trust. So both security and government actually falls under earth. Next one, when both of the wealth element appears at hour and month, but so coincident happen to be emptiness, will the chart have potential of wealth capacity? Okay, up to now we are not taking any death and emptiness into consideration. There's as long as you have it in your chart, it's still usable. Okay, so at this moment we will not be covering or talking about the death and emptiness aspect. Do we still focus on the element? Yes, you still focus on it, even though it's DE. If I'm in the service line, how to know if I'm in the right field as client has fire and water, your main element is earth, sub is metal and water. Okay. If you're in the right field as client has fire and water, and your main element is earth, metal and water. I'm not really sure what the question is. If you are here, maybe you can actually clarify the question, yeah, then we can actually get back to it. Okay, so Sue wants to know, she is Yang Water Dragon, and the chart is Earth, Wood, Fire. Okay, being wood in the middle, but she's doing accounting, which is metal. She has zero resource, no metal in the chart, but she has 100% EG. Current luck pillar is in metal. She works in the fire field, but job is metal. Does this mean that the maximum return is still limited? Okay, so Sue, for you, because your eating god is 100%, and if you're working for a company, then it's not so maximized, because for you should be aiming for roles that are either doing your own business, or setting up your own firm, or you can also opt for freelancing, which is the second thing that you mentioned there. If you offer bookkeeping services as a sole trader business, is actually much better for you. Okay. Okay, so Jella wants to know the numbering for each element in the notes. For the most influential field, does the numbering and color mean anything? Actually, this one, I look back at the notes, and then the notes actually does have numbers. That's what she's trying to ask, but actually the number just means, it's just an example, it's just bullet points, so it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, the second part of the fire element and most influential, there are no numbering, so technically it's just bullet points. Just ignore the numbers, they're all just bullet points. Second question, if there is no wealth star in the destiny chart at all. Okay, so this one I already answered just now. It just means that you don't view money the same way as other people, or other people who have wealth in the chart. They have different priorities. Okay, so it does not mean that you have no wealth capacity. You can make a lot of money, but it's just that it's still not important to you, because you don't have the wealth element. It's not in your chart at all. So if it's not in your chart, you don't really think about it to begin with. What is the element for beauty, sales, and sports? Okay, beauty is water, sales is fire, and sports, because sports also sports is all about vitality, so sports is also under fire. Okay, so next one, Michael wants to know, advertising and copywriting is under which element? Okay, advertising and copywriting is under wood. My month pillar's sole hidden element is wood, and my day pillar's hidden stem is earth. Okay, metal and fire. What is my favorable element? Just go with the earth. Is there a different meaning to well star appearing to hidden stem versus the heavenly stem? I think in the course, in the video, it is taught that if it's in the heavenly stem, then you should focus on the selling. Yeah, this is a recap. Yeah, it's actually in your video. So if it's on the heavenly stem, you should actually be focusing on the selling. And if it's the hidden stem, you should be focusing on creating something, building something, being creative, have more ideas, things more to creating something, yeah, instead of selling. So that's what it means. The third question, if a person has only indirect wealth in the natal chart and no direct wealth and vice versa, what does that mean? At this point in time, just focus on the wealth element, as in if you have one, either one will do. Okay, it's either in the month or in the hour. It does not, at the moment, it does not matter whether which one it is. Okay, freelance tax and accounting services is what element? I'm born in the month of pig. Actually, freelance tax and accounting falls under metal. Okay, falls under metal. How to determine if well star position are strong or weak? You can actually look at your structure, the pentagon. You can actually see the percentage, right? So look at the wealth, and you can actually determine from there how high it is, how low it is. That's how strong and weak your whatever that is in your chart is. So in the old days, reading 八字 chart reveals heavenly secrets. Okay, this one is slightly off topic, but I still want to address it because I think for people who are starting off with 八字, you may have questions like this, yeah, because this is quite common in Chinese society or Chinese customs, that people say if you learn 八字 or if you learn any sort of metaphysics, that you're actually leaking the heavenly secrets. So from a personal perspective, a 八字 chart is actually just an energy map. So what this energy map does is that it's just telling you what kind of character, what sort of personality, how you actually behave, what kind of action that you will take. We can actually foresee by using this energy map. So to me, it's not much of a secret. It's just a tool of learning how to decipher yourself, like a user manual for yourself. So it's more of so it's more of an analysis tool to predict human behavior, and also to understand what opportunities that are brought into you. So by knowing this, right, by knowing your how you work, how a person work, it will actually trigger certain we can actually foresee what you will do or what you won't do, and what you will do and won't do will ultimately bring the outcome. So this is not so much of a secret. I think The luck will be lessened if you actually know yourself now, you've understood yourself now, but you don't take action. If you don't take action and you continue to not take action, then your luck, heavenly or not, will definitely lessen. Okay, so that's why we are learning this, and I don't see any problem with this. I don't see anything that is revealing. It's just understanding yourself, understanding how you work, and trying to change our thought patterns, change our personality if need to, so that we can bring better outcomes in life. Okay. Okay, so Sharon wants to know, is favorable element the same as useful God? Yes. For now, it's a yes. If we have wealth star, indirect wealth in the sub-chi only, does that mean our compulsion to be rich is weaker? I also mentioned this just now. If it's in the sub-chi, it just means that it takes certain life experiences or certain trigger points to actually bring out this personality in you. So it's not as easy as it being in the main chi. Okay? So question number 3, what is the difference between using the dominant elements in our month and the dominant elements in a profile when choosing the field and role? So the dominant elements in our months is more for the field that you are in, the industry, the field, the environment. Whereas the dominant element in our 10 profiles is all about our skills, what we can do, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. So that will ultimately be the role that we play. So when you're choosing a role, then go with the profile. What would be your advice if my influence field is not my ideal field as an IT engineer? Okay, for an example, I'm working in a finance industry as an IT engineer, and wood field market is very limited for IT engineer or simply none. How would that create my wealth? Okay, so I'm assuming that your month pillar has a wood. So that's why you are saying that you're doing IT, which is fire, and then you're working in a finance industry, and your element is supposed to be wood. So how to actually maximize it, right? So for me, if I see that your wood is there, wood represents a lot of things. Education, designing. So even in IT, there are a few things that you can choose. Yeah, in IT, you can either start doing the designing. Solution architect. Solution architect is also designing solutions for the client. That is one part. If you still feel not so fulfilled in that, maybe you are more suited to do training or coaching or mentoring or teaching people something. Teaching people something in IT, whatever your skill set is. So maybe your path is actually more to teaching. So that's how you can maximize it. Okay, next question. Lee wants to know, my element in wealth capacity field is water. However, in my 5 structure is connector, suitable industry is fire element. I am really confused which element should suit me. Okay, so I think first of all, you are mixing up the structure and also the wealth capacity. The wealth capacity, yeah. So the structure is connector and your wealth capacity is water. I won't see a confusion there, because if you are water and a connector, you are actually a person who likes to build people. You like to build people together. You like to train them. You like to mentor them, which actually fits both. So I don't see a confusion here. You could go into fields that are a bit more more into training, mentoring, because you like to train a team. You like to actually impart knowledge. You like to build people. You like to motivate people. So if you have a team of people that you can do that, you will be more fulfilled. Okay. So the next question, if the most dominant element in the chart is stronger than the month branch element, should we still refer to the month branch element as the industry of maximum return? Okay, sometimes in the chart, you notice that maybe the highest one is actually not the one in the month, but it will definitely fall into the top three because it's the month branch. Yeah, month branch is always the strongest. So even though it's not the highest, it's definitely the second one. If not the second, then the third. But normally it will be either the first or the second. So if you want to make full use of this, there are some industries that you can actually use it together. Okay, some industries is a mix and match. You can actually use it together. But if not, then you can always choose either one. The highest one is fine. The second highest is equally fine. Okay. For Earth branch, is it only main chi being considered? How about sub chi? Okay, I think we've covered this a few times. Look at the main chi. Main chi is easiest to access. Sub chi will take certain trigger points before you actually be able to notice it. Next question. I understand having a rob wealth means that the person is poor at financial management. So how can it be secondary to IW or DW? Okay, rob wealth actually means people who are quite good at leveraging on other people's strength. Because rob wealth, if you look at it from a perspective, right, it's actually people who are deal makers. They are very good deal makers. They are very good speakers. They are very good motivators. They are very good team builders. So when you don't have the wealth capacity or the wealth elements in your chart, the second best way is to leverage on other people. And no one does this better than a companion star, which is a friend or rob wealth. That's why you need to look for wealth elements, IW, DW, or companion star, rob wealth, and friend. Okay. You mentioned IW and DW in month pillar, lifestyle, and hour pillar, desire for wealth. Month is actually desire. The hour is actually the compulsion. What is the DW in the heavenly branch of the year pillar? Okay, as mentioned, if it's in the heavenly branch, means for you, in order to actually make money, in order for you to maximize your own skill set, you should be selling. You should be doing advertising, you should be marketing, and you should be going out there and selling. That's what you should be doing. Okay, Suzanne wants to know if a person works in a nightclub as a musician, what is the feel for this? Musician, any sort of entertainment is water element. Okay, Simon wants to know if there's a method to find the time of birth if they don't know. Okay, yeah, Simon, that at the moment we can't force someone to tell you your time, yeah. So if you don't have your time, then the only thing that you won't know is their compulsion. You won't know what they're thinking, and you don't know what their desires are. That's all. But if you want to look at someone's capacity, the feels, you can still do that, yeah. Okay, my company is in healthcare IT. supporting hospitals, and we build apps for physicians. Does this considered healthcare or IT? Okay, as long as your entire company is building applications, you are an IT company to begin with. The only thing is that your customer and your client base is the healthcare industry. So you are definitely an IT company, which is fire element. Second question, my role is corporate finance, provide P&L financial support and strategic planning. Is it considered a finance field or strategic thinking? If you are doing the P&L financial support, you are in the metal industry, metal element. My structure is resource. My capacity has 3 main elements: metal, water, and wood. Okay. Based on my role in the corporate finance within the healthcare, am I in the right role with the biggest industry potential? Okay, your structure is resource. And then your month is metal, water, and wood. Yeah, because you are actually doing corporate finance. Okay, this is a bit confusing, yeah, because you build apps and then you are the corporate finance. So you are still in the IT industry, but you are doing finance. So your structure is wood element and you have metal, water, and wood. Okay, so the metal part fits your role, which is actually doing the you're doing corporate finance. Within IT, to answer, you are not in the industry of biggest. You're not maximizing your potential at the moment because you're actually in an IT company, and I would not take the healthcare into consideration. Yeah, I actually take that as your clients or your customer base. So to answer your question, no, you're not in the right in industry at the moment. Okay, next one. In reference to the water element chart, would you please give example or expand what it means? Wisdom related field strategist thinker. How is it different from wood element? Also clarify what is flowing, moving industry in the same water element. Okay, so wisdom related field strategist thinkers is part of the water element, right? So wisdom related can be something related to mind building, psychology, something to do with psychology, something to do with mind building. Nowadays, there are a lot of programs or a lot of training schools that actually build the mind. Strategist thinking can also be consultants, any sort of consultants, because consultants need to solve problems on a daily basis. Not only solve problems, they need to think out of the box. Sometimes they need to come up with very creative solutions. So those are wisdom related field strategist thinkers are actually consultants in short. So flowing moving industry. So flowing moving industry for water, moving industry is things like transportation, uh, logistics, transportation, fast moving goods that will be flowing. So shipping is also moving. So things like that fall into the flowing moving industry. Okay, so Evelyn wants to know no wealth or companion in the hour, meaning no desire or compulsion to be wealthy. So, how this person can achieve the desire to be wealthy? If you don't have it in your chart to begin with, right, that means you already do not have the compulsion. So, no compulsion does not mean that you don't prioritize it. Is that you have other things that are more important to you. So you can't really force the desire to be wealthy, because in your chart it already says that you actually want other things in life. So if you want other things in life, and you are actually wanting to pursue something else, and you think that being wealthy or superbly wealthy is not so important to you, then there is actually no problem with it. It does not mean that you will not be wealthy. It's just that even though you make the money, or you earn a lot of you actually accumulate a lot of wealth, is you will still not be fulfilled, because it's not in your hour pillar. So this is not something that will ultimately fulfill you, but it does not mean that you will not be wealthy. If the dominant element has the wealthy star, if the dominant element has a wealthy star under it, does it mean that the field you need to pursue to acquire wealth? Okay, so if you have a wealth in your month, that's what you're trying to say. So if the wealth element is in your month, means you have a desire to actually make money. So how compelled are you to do it? That will depend on the hour. So like I said just now, it seems that you have the capacity to actually earn money. So having a wealth star in your month already shows that you have the capacity to actually be rich. It's just that no matter how rich you become, it does not really satisfy you ultimately, because it's not in your hour. Okay, so Harsadani wants to know, what is the element of the following field? Farming, planting, manufacturing. Okay, so let's go one by one. Farming and planting is wood, because this is, I consider agriculture, yeah. Manufacturing motorized bicycle would be metal. Hospitality is water. Beekeeping. Beekeeping is quite, I'll call it natural resource, yeah. Beekeeping, so I'll put it under earth. Raising chicken for eggs, and expedition would be water. Raising chicken for eggs, I'll put it under earth. So what does it mean by, it's written here culture, but the book says cultural. So he wants to know, what does cultural in the wood element mean. So cultural actually means that if you are in the industry where you're actually promoting your culture, it could be having road shows, having shows, events that actually promote culture, or maybe you are spearheading an whole organization that actually promotes certain culture. So yeah, this will also fall into the wood element. Okay, so next question, semiconductor company. Semiconductor company will fall under metal. Next one, would you consider cybersecurity industry under metal or fire? Okay, cybersecurity, I would actually put it under earth and fire, because anything to do with security is actually earth, and this is also because it's cybersecurity, it's also fire element, so it's actually earth and fire. Does maximize capacity talk about skills or resource to make money? Okay, if you want to look at skills to make money, then look at your profile. This will be covered a lot more, I think, in the other courses. There will be courses after this, the modules after this, that actually cover this in more detail. Yeah. Okay, so according to lesson 1 video, my most influential field appears to be metal related. Does that mean I must work in a metal industry? What if I'm not an engineer, jewelry designer, trained in banking? Okay, so not really into soldier handling guns. Okay. I suppose I can be a miner. Must I change job? Okay, so according to you, you are in the metal industry. Sorry, your most influential field is actually metal, but you're not working in the metal industry and you want to know if you should change job. So at the moment, you are not in the industry, not in the most favorable industry for you. But you can also look into your profiles to see if your role fits and if you can actually work around it with your role. So changing job or not, like I said just now, ultimately we can only see and we can also predict and also try to find you the best way, the best path that you should go to. But ultimately, if you, the person who will decide if you want to go through this path or not will be you. So whether to change job or not, of course, is ultimately up to you. We can only advise and we can see which one brings you the maximum capacity. But if you think that you're very comfortable in your current situation and you don't really want to change, then you can still go ahead and but you won't be maximizing you will not be in your most influential field. Okay. What if someone does not know their hour of birth? Yeah, we actually went through this a few times. So if they don't know their hour of birth, then you can look at other things. If there is no time of birth, okay, same question. So next one, if the client is from another country, USA, and you are from Asia, how to get the birth chart to be accurate? If you are in the US or you are in Asia, they are still born in the same time, the same day. So no matter which country you plot it, it will still be the same chart. Okay, Manat wants to know if customer maximum field is fire at the month. Yang Water is day master. Is it possible that this guy be able to invest and trade in the future? Customer maximum. Okay. The answer is yes, yeah. Because you if the customer's maximum field is fire, Yang Water is day master. I'm assuming yes because I can't see the other things in his chart. I assume that the water should be still quite healthy. So yeah, he can invest or trade. Okay, next question. Is there a difference between main element and sub chi? We answered this just now. In my destiny chart, our pillar, there is a Wu Yin, but the lower box says Rob Wealth and Direct Wealth HO in small characters. Okay. The other portion of my destiny chart, I saw Rob Wealth. So does that mean I will rob others' direct wealth and become okay? So to summarize this, our pillar has a rob wealth. So he's very concerned that either his wealth will be robbed or he will rob other people's wealth. Yeah. So the answer is rob wealth can also mean collaboration. It also means deal making. They are one of the best deal makers, rob wealth people, because they're very good with people. They're extremely good with people and people like them. They're very likable. That's why they always get all the deals. So if you actually focus on the good side of it, focus on what you can use it for, yeah, instead of focusing on robbing someone's wealth. You can actually focus on how you can work together, collaborate, and make the wealth together. That is also a rob wealth trait. So it is a lot to do with your perception, yeah. So try to actually use the positive side of it instead of uh, thinking of the negative, yeah. So that's not a very healthy way to look at the star. The second question is Oh, yes. So it continues to go to if you will rob the wife or others will rob my wife. It's actually in the hour, so most likely no. Inner compulsion. So, okay, this one, right? This will ultimately depend on you, because if you are already thinking of it this way and you feel that you already have this compulsion, then you will do it definitely. But if you are it depends, yeah, because everybody has like I said just now, we can only predict or we can actually see the thought patterns, but whether you do it or not, it depends a lot on the person. So you can't take the 八字 chart and actually blame it and say that my 八字 chart says that it's like that, that's why I do this. So you can't actually do that with a 八字 chart. It's actually, there are a lot more meanings behind it. There are a lot of very useful things. Like I said, Rock Wealth is a lot about collaboration, a lot about bringing people together, actually making the wealth together. So probably look at it that way. Yeah. Next person wants to know, I'm yin metal under wealth in the month pillar. Okay, yin metal and then wealth in the month. Is engineering, fire element, consulting business suitable to be in the metal field? Or engineering consulting business, okay. If not, what should I take precaution to excel in this metal field? Okay, so yin metal sitting under wealth means it's wood, yeah. So definitely you're sitting on wood. So you're in the engineering consulting business, which is in the metal. So if you want to know how to excel in this, and then you're sitting under wood. So what does wood represent? Wood represents education, mentoring, actually nurturing people. So is there anything in your consulting business that you can add on that requires training, mentoring, some sort of teaching, coaching in that way? Then you will definitely maximize. Okay. Okay, so next question. To read the hour chart for intention and to read the hour chart for intention, to read the month chart for the field that we are suitable in. What do we read from the hour chart? Okay, Peach, I hope you've been following the class, yeah? Because from your question, you basically just ask what to look for in the hour chart. So maybe you go through the video again. In the hour chart, we actually look for your compulsion. We look for your, we see how compelled you are to actually succeed and to actually have the drive in life. So maybe you need to look through the course again, yeah. Next one. I noticed that wealth field in month pillar and wealth element in 5 structures are different. Example, in the month, earthy branch may say earth, and 5 structure will say metal. Is this possible? Okay, wait. I noticed that the wealth field in the month pillar and the wealth element in the 5 structures are different. This is not possible, yeah. It should be the same. It should be the same. It should be the same element. Maybe different polarity, but it should be the same element. Maybe you look through your chart properly again. Okay, next question. KJ wants to know. Mention about the elemental field where one can best achieve the maximum wealth return versus his own natal element field, which offers the path of least resistance. From where do I look at my pattern to find my natal element industry? Okay. Second question, if I do not have any DW or IR in my natal chart, but it comes in the luck cycle. Okay, your first question is a little bit confusing, yeah. Where do I look in my budget chart to find your natal element and industry would be the month. We were talking about the month, okay? So you can look into the month. The second question, if I do not have TW or IR, okay, but it comes in the luck cycle, what does it mean and how do I capitalize on it? Okay, the thing about not having certain elements and then it comes in from the luck pillar, you naturally will not know how to identify it to begin with. But I'm sure your chart has an indirect wealth. It also has a direct resource. So at the moment, just focus on that. Okay, don't focus on not or what you don't have. Yeah, focus on what you have and leverage on it. Third, even if I'm void of wealth star, well, associating with people from having these stars help. Okay, void, I assume you're talking about death and emptiness again. So at this point in time, death and emptiness or not, the star is still usable. Okay, so ignore it for now. Yukin wants to know, is the 八字reading accurate if you are not able to get the time of birth? Okay, if you don't have your time of birth, the chart is only accurate up to about 80% because you are lacking the time. But if you are reading, you just want to know someone's skill set or you want to know someone's capacity, not having the time of birth is already enough. Okay, next question. JS wants to know, a Qigong master who heals and teaches class, is it earth or wood or fire? Okay, Qigong master, regardless, Qigong master is always a healer first. So when it comes to, when he is doing healing, then he's actually he will be, that will be the earth element. When he's teaching, then it will be the wood element. So it depends on the role of the master. So some masters only teach, then they don't heal. Then it will be actually the wood element because there are not many Qigong masters around who actually physically heal someone else. Yeah, there's not many Qigong masters that actually do that. So basically, they teach you how to do a set of exercises that you can do yourself. That would actually be more wood, unless the Qigong master is a healer himself, hands-on healing someone else. Then only we consider him as earth. Is MLM considered wood or fire industry? MLM, okay, let's see. MLM, I will consider it more of a water, actually, water industry. There are technology, metaphysics, military industries for fire element, okay. In your practice, would you look at the yin and yang? No, we don't look at yin and yang at the moment. Just they are the same polarity for now. I mean, there are different polarities. Just look at the element for now. Okay. Okay, Michael wants to know if the 八字 does not have any wealth star and secondary wealth star in the hour pillar, but it seems that the person receives some dumb money. Okay, dumb money, right, can come in from luck pillars, can come in from annual pillars. Sometimes maybe you triggered something in the feng shui, the feng shui of your house, or 八字 wise, actually, our luck actually fluctuates. Our percentage of the element actually fluctuates on a daily basis. Yeah, so even annually, you will notice certain things go up, certain things go down, certain things that are missing suddenly appear, certain things that are actually there suddenly went missing. So yeah, there will be times when the energy fluctuates and it will trigger certain things. So it could be that the annual or the monthly luck came in. Okay. Next question, if the 八字 has all indirect, okay, I'm not sure what is ID. There is no ID, so I'm not sure what is that. Indirect wealth friend in her 4 pillars. Does it mean that the person potentially rich if we activate them? Yes. If you have it in all your 4 pillars, your wealth capacity is quite high because you have money making opportunities almost in every aspect of your life if you choose to. So it's a good point you brought up if you activated them, because you need to physically go out and actually do something to actually grab these opportunities, put in the effort, and then you will see the returns. But to answer your question, if you have it in all 4 pillars, then your wealth generation generating capacity in different aspects or in different industries or different areas in your life is very high. Okay, Marina wants to know, are we checking the DWIW, okay, the wealth, the companion only in the main chi of the hidden stem or also the sub chi? Okay, we also covered this just now. In case you didn't hear, if it's in the main chi, it's a lot easier for you to use it. If it's in the sub chi, it takes certain life experiences or certain trigger points before you actually realize that you have this ability. So slightly harder than the main chi. Okay, next question. Fun wants to know, if do not have wealth in natal chart, also do not have companion in the hour, does it mean unlikely to generate wealth even when we are working hard? I also covered this just now. It does not mean that you don't have the capacity. It's just that it's not your main priority in life. It's not your main desire in life. Will DE appear in the earthly branch of the natal chart affect the DW or IW? On heavenly stem, will this DE impact the opportunity of wealth? Okay, so a lot of people are very concerned about this DE and death and emptiness. Yeah. So like I said just now, DE or not, the wealth star, any star still can be used, because DE has times when it's there, when it's not there. There are certain situations or scenarios where it's combined away. So to actually think that to actually conclude that you have a DE and then you cannot use it and you don't use it, is going to be a waste. So at the moment, just ignore it and just use it. Maximize, always think of how to maximize it, how to actually make full use of it instead of worrying about whether it's DE or not, because there are certain situations when the DE will actually be combined off. Yeah. Okay, so don't worry too much about it. Even though DE or not, every star is still usable. In the fire element, what do promotions and services refer to? Okay, so in the fire element, services actually means selling, providing certain service, like just now shared services, also promotions. Promotions could be doing sales. You're actually going out, seeing clients every day. So in short, as long as you have clients that you need to attend to, that you need to sell to, it's considered promotions and services. So psychology, nutrition belongs to fire and earth. Okay, nutrition, yes, it belongs to earth. Psychology, depending what you use it for, I would see it more as, like I said just now, the wisdom, strategic thinking, if you're a psychologist. But if you're in the psychology industry, then most likely it will be fire. Also, are yoga or gym instructors belong to wood or earth? Okay, if you are an instructor, you will fall into the wood category because you are teaching. Okay, so we are going to take a 10-minute short break for you to absorb everything for now. And then when we come back, we're going to continue with all the questions, and then we'll also look into some of the questions that you have now. Okay, so short break. We'll be right back. Okay, mic is on?
Yep.
Okay.
So
You want to continue or you want to go with the... Okay. All right. And we're back. So we're gonna go through a few more questions here, and then I will address the questions that you are asking at the moment. Yeah. So okay, we'll try to cover as much as possible. So let's quickly go through the slides. Okay, Fun wants to know if oh, sorry, we already done this. Next one. Okay, can the companion star be a support to maximize wealth in the luck pillar? Definitely, yeah, because like I said just now, companion stars is really good with building the network and deal making. So it definitely help to maximize your wealth capacity. Okay, so Ken wants to know my month earthly branch is Wei Goat. Okay, earthly branch Goat, main hidden stem G, Teng and Yi. Your natal structure, the highest percentage is fire, followed by the earth and wood. Why is this so? Okay, like I mentioned just now, the elements in your month, right? Either one, two, or three of them will definitely be the highest few in your chart. So even though it may not be the highest one, it will definitely be the second highest one. If not, it will not be in the month, because the month always determines the quality and the strength of everything that is in your chart. So if the highest one, like he said, see, Teng fire, Yik wood, the highest percentage is already fire. Fire is already there because one of the sub element is fire, followed by earth. Earth is the main chi, and then followed by wood. See, all three are definitely the highest. So you can pick either one. The top three is always it's always good to go with the top three if you don't want to follow the highest one, because they are roughly about equally high. Okay, so Ken wants to know, under the natal structure, there are 5 types of. Okay, in natal structure, 5 types of. Oh, okay, there are thinkers, supporters, and all that. Okay, so why is that when two person belong to the same type? So if two person are thinkers, they belong to the element of. Oh, okay. So Ken wants to know that if both are thinkers, but why their thinker element is different. So maybe, for instance, my thinker profile is wood, and Farouk is also a thinker, and his element is actually fire. So he wants to know why is it different, because we have different day masters. So when we have different day masters, we have different elements that represent our thinker, the thinker element. Okay. So Jason wants to know what happens if there's a clash combination with the elements of the wealth capacity. At the moment, right now we are not covering this. This will be covered later in the other classes. Okay. So Annie wants to know, there are many job fields and job. How do I know which element they belong to? Annie, if you actually look into your notes actually we already highlighted in the notes. Fire element is represents what, wood element has what, it represents what field, and then earth and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's actually in your notes. Next question. Okay, Shen wants to know, I work in a hotel which has fine dining restaurant and room, but I'm an accountant. Okay, so basically you work in a in the hotel, but you're an accountant. Okay, so how should this be classified? So you are actually in the tourism industry. I mean hotel, yeah. So that would be actually water. And then I'm an accountant, so your role is actually a metal role. Okay, but if in the month pillar has D, okay, like I said just now, we are not covering D at the moment, so just ignore it for now. any element is usable. Okay. In addition, a recruitment company, and it supplies manpower to other companies. Okay, recruitment and manpower. Is there an element to classify? Categorize it as earth element. Okay, recruitment and manpower would be, let me see, will be correct to classify as earth. Manpower, I would actually see it more towards, because when you supply manpower, right, you're actually selling manpower to other people, providing services and also manpower. I actually see it as fire. Bridget wants to know, from Bazi charts, can we read affinity to wealth and career prospect and talents? Okay, Bridget, this entire course is actually to read affinity to our wealth and also our career prospects, and also to understand our strength and weaknesses. So which pillars? At the moment we are looking at the month, we are also looking at the hour for compulsion. Enjoying life is always in the month because that determines the quality of our life. Okay, month pillar. Pharmaceutical. Okay, so pharmaceutical, wood or earth. Pharmaceutical is actually fire. Working in the food snack industry. Okay, I assume this is fast moving consumer goods. It belongs to what element? So fast moving consumer goods is actually water. Ice cream industry is also water. Okay, next one. Richard wants to know, management consultant. Okay, management consultant requires a lot of strategic thinking. Also a lot of thinking out of the box, how to solve management problems, how to come up with very unique solutions, strategic solutions. So I will put it underwater. Flowing, moving industry, I already mentioned just now, shipping, trading, transportation, hospitality, also entertainment, moving and flowing, right? Moving and flowing will be also your fast moving consumer goods, flowing, shipping also in considered. So the third one are all types of trading businesses under the trading and travel field. At the moment, yes. This is possible. Is it possible to tell what kind of difficulties, challenges one would face in attaining wealth in the month if only contains unfavorable elements? If there are two strong elements in a particular season and both elements usable even if they are not found in the month pillar but found elsewhere in the natal chart. Okay, at the moment, like I said, we are looking at the month because that shows your desire to actually be rich. And also the month, because the month shows the compulsion. How compelled are you? How much you are actually willing to do to actually be rich? So at the moment, we are looking at the month, we are looking at the hour. So what kind of difficulties or challenges? Okay, so you have gone through the first two videos. Dato already mentioned that if you are in the field of maximum return, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it may or may not be your favorable element. So it's uncomfortable. That's why we need to see your compulsion. How much are you willing to take to actually be rich? How much you're willing to take to actually make it? So unfavorable or not, it's actually your desire, your mindset, yeah, and also your willpower to actually take hardship or take the challenge. So if you're willing to take challenge and then you want to have, then you can go into the field of your maximum return because it's not easy. So if you're in the field of if you're in the field that is favorable for you, then it will be easier and you'll be more comfortable, but you may not necessarily make the most money out of. Okay. Next question from Annie. Is syllabus taught in 60 pillars covered in Grow Rich? No, we are not covering 60 pillars in this course, yeah, because this course is more about understanding your skill set and to actually how to maximize and grow your wealth using 八字. So do you still need to purchase 八字 books to enhance the learning? Yes, you can do so if you want to. There are a lot of books. There are also one very good book is the 10 Gods. 10 Gods will help you understand the 10 Gods itself, what it represents. It's quite a thick book. To me, that is one of the most useful book that I actually keep and still use until today. So that is one of the books that you can consider. Okay, what is the relevance of the highlighted column in every pillar? Okay, I'm not sure which column you're talking about because the ones that we highlight are usually the day master because the day master represents us. So it's the most important pillar in 八字. The other one that we highlight is most probably the luck pillar, which represents the current luck pillar that you are in. So these are the two that we constantly highlight. I don't think we highlight anything else. Okay, Brian wants to know, he has a Wu Jia Bing in his month. Therefore, the term of selecting the most influential field, do I go for the dominant element, which is Jia? Yes, Jia will be the main chi. So go with that. Okay. Earth field is medical trust, correct? Metal field is finance. This everyone can actually take note here, yeah, in case you forgot. So earth field is medical, always represents trust. Metal field is finance. Wood field is herbal plant, also healing. Fire field is the service line. Okay, so question: working environment in traditional Chinese company, so TCM, supplying Chinese medicine to an organization, to a to a TCM hospital. So should it fall into wood or is it earth? So you are producing, I assume you are producing the medicine. Yeah? If you're producing the medicine, it will be wood. So if you are the one actually producing you actually go out and get the ingredients, actually make the medicine, and then you supply, it's actually wood. But if you don't, you're the third party, you just buy and sell to other people, then it's considered earth. Insurance company and bank is metal. In these two industry is a service line. As these two industry is a service line and also finance, also selling a sense of security and trust. Okay, so insurance company. Okay, so you are saying that for selling medicine to a TCM company, a TCM hospital, and also selling insurance are also called service line. So service line in terms of selling security and trust as well. But we don't look at it as fire in this context. Yeah. So insurance will fall into metal industry, and then like I said just now, depending on what your role is in the TCM company, whether you create a medicine, then it will be wood. If you are just selling, then it will be earth. Okay, Celia wants to know, is it possible for someone to have 0 elements in the month destiny chart? No, not possible. What if the most capacity element is the least favorable, one that does harm, make you mean or unhappy? Okay, This one to me is a perception issue. Like I said just now, you can't take your 八字 chart and blame your unhappiness on it, yeah. Because every element has its pros, has its cons. It depends on which side you actually want to look into, which part you want to acknowledge. Okay, so I don't see any element as I don't see any element that purposely makes you mean, makes you unhappy, unless you yourself choose to be unhappy. Okay, so we need to get the perception right. How do you get rich doing something that makes general? Okay, I assume that you're very unhappy with what you do at the moment, so you feel that you are rejecting wealth emotionally. You see, I assume that your chart does not have, either you don't have a wealth element at all, so your happiness actually depends on other things. So maybe look into your hour pillar and see what actually is your true desire. Okay, the hour pillar is more important to you. Maybe it's not wealth and it's okay. Maybe your something else will make you happy. Then focus on that. They say that owning a business is what can make a person super rich and independent. Okay. What does selling things online fall under? Okay, anything online is fire. How do you become independently rich if you don't want to be in the corporate world and not have selling online capacity element? Okay, then you need to look back at your chart, yeah. I think you need to go back to chapter 1, recap, and then go step by step. Okay, step by step. Look at your month, look at what is in your month, analyze what is actually there, what is your capacity to begin with. Maybe it's not owning a business. Maybe you don't have the output and you don't have wealth. Maybe you fall into the structure of resource. The actually recap again, go back to listen to the video again and again, slowly dissect it again. I'm sure you will find what is your true desire and then go with that. Okay, next question from Jacqueline. Okay, can you explain more on more metal element industries to share? Okay, metal element industries, a lot to do with metal to begin with, a lot to do with finance. Chiropractic is also metal because it's skin and bones. So chiropractic falls under metal as well. Jewelry meaning only metal related. Jewelry meaning only metal related jewelry. Metal related and gem related. Yeah, gem is also metal element. Gemstones. Can you explain more on the metal element on finance industry? Okay, so metal element on finance industry is a lot of managing finance, dealing with other people's money, banking, the whole banking industry. Insurance is also metal element in the finance industry. Financial analyst budgeting, yes, considered. So nowadays, finance evolves around technology. Okay, finance, will it be fire or metal? Okay, if you are working in a bank and or you supply, or maybe you create softwares, you create banking softwares. Okay, you create banking softwares, that is your main core company, the whole sub company itself. Because nowadays the IT arm, right? If you're in the banking line, a lot of the IT arm does not is not tied to the banking industry anymore. Yeah, they actually sub it out as a subsidiary, and they are a standalone company on your own. So if you are doing all this technology for banking, for the finance industry, I would think you're fired, because not many banking have their own IT arm anymore. They all of this software is actually sub out to another subsidiary or different company. Okay, how do we work on our elements if it's not our personal interests? Okay, that's why you need to look at the month pillar again. Yeah, look at the month pillar again. These are fields of your maximum return. Like I said, it's not easy. So not easy, not comfortable. So it may not be your personal interest. Like the if you look back at the video, that's why we see how compelled you are. If you're really compelled to be successful, you will make this your interest. You will actually take the effort, put in the effort, how much effort you're willing to put to actually be rich. Okay, so that all depends on the hour. Next question. If wealth elements appear in the 10-year luck pillar, okay, if it appears in the 10-year luck pillar, it just means that a lot of money making opportunities that will come to you. So whether you want to take it or not, that will ultimately be up to you. Next question. My day master is yin fire and the animal below is wood. Signifies your spouse. Okay, yes. May I know how to maximize it in your career? Okay, you're talking about your day master. At the moment, we are looking at your month. We are looking at your hour. So look at your month and your hour first. If my day master, okay, my spouse day master is yin metal, does that mean I have control? Okay, at the moment, this is a this is a relationship question, so we won't be taking this for now. Okay, Chris wants to know my element is water, but I am in the health field, earth. Okay, if the product I'm selling is health supplement, which is mostly made of water, your element is water, and you are in the okay, I'm not sure if you're talking about your day master or if you're talking about the element in your month. So I can't really answer this question. Okay, underwater element, trading and transport. Is trading like import export? Does it apply to selling online services? Services is fire. Online services is also fire, as well as physical goods. Okay, yeah. So selling services is fire on and online is fire. Suppose you found someone who has at least the same industry field as you in the month. Okay, however, that industry is not his or her most capacity, but is for the other. Okay, would that join forces? Yes, you can actually capitalize on other people's skill set. The third question, would robotics be, or those used, especially those used in medicine, considered fire or metal? Anything robotics is actually fire. Even though the usage of it is used in medicine, okay, no matter what sort of industry you're using it for, right, robotics will fall into fire. Advertising or act of advertising, marketing. Okay, advertising and marketing is actually, okay, promotion services, yeah, fire. Okay, government job. If you're in the government, it will be earth. How do you define a field and a job if it can be both? For example, doctors liaising with the army. Is this considered fire? Okay, when you're liaising with someone that would I consider them as your clients, your customer. It's not really your industry because those are the people you serve. But what are you doing actually? What sort of tasks are you performing actually? So you are a doctor, you actually heal people. So when you heal people, then it would be medical, yeah. Regardless of who you heal, it can be the army, it can be children, it can be anyone. Yeah, ultimately you are healing. So it will be earth. Okay, if my element is water, will be working in a field with fire be inauspicious because fire counters water, and would working in a field with earth be unpleasant because earth controls water. So this is actually going back to our earlier theory, our methodology earlier, that you can the path of uh, the path to wealth, requires a bit of discomfort, and it's not easy. So counters or not, it actually just shows whether you can take stress or not. So if it counters you, it's not inauspicious. It's called inauspicious in the olden day because anything that counters you gives you stress. So it depends a lot on how much you can take stress. So if you can take stress very well, then there'll be no problem. I am a fire element and earth element. My main business right now is online education. So I'm wondering if I'm in the right field, which belongs to fire. Uh, okay, you're fire. And then earth is the subsidiary. Your main business is online education. Wondering if you're in the right field. As education is considered wood. Okay, correct, which you don't have. Or does it? Okay, online education, right, would actually be wood and fire together. Okay, because you actually utilize two platforms. Yeah, you're actually teaching online, so it will be wood and fire. Okay, anyone wants to know what are the significance of where the well star and companion star are found in a different sector of the natal chart? Okay, so the well star, where the well star falls, shows where which sort of environment is best for you to thrive in. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to repeat it again. If you have the well star in your year pillar, for instance, so if your well star is in the year, you actually have uh, you are more suited to work in the MNC environment, in big corporations. And if it's in a month, then maybe the company size will be a bit smaller, 100 to 200 people. So if it's in a day, then even less, and in the year, even less. Okay, so that's what it means to actually have this in different parts of your chart. Okay, next question. Joey says that in regards to job fields, that it should be based on the element that provides the maximum return, the largest market share, correct? Oftentimes, yeah. So this is also a recap, yeah. You see, when you are in the element of your maximum return, is oftenly not your lucky element, not your favorable, most likely not your favorable element. That's why it's a discomfort. It's a little bit of stress. It depends on how compelled you are to actually take this challenge, yeah, and to put the effort into actually succeeding in this. So, but for a few, this could be your field of maximum return as well. Your question is, where do you find your lucky or favorable element to compare and to see if this is also the element that gives you the maximum return? Most likely it's not. The favorable element is always the balancing element, which will give you comfort, but it will not give you the ultimate um, wealth capacity, the richness that you want. Yeah, so it will definitely not be the element if you actually want to compare. Okay, so Adam wants to know, are the sub branch elements? Okay, so we actually covered this many times as well. The elements in the sub branch will actually take life experiences to actually trigger. So I think someone did ask in the group chat, what are the trigger points? if I can elaborate on what the trigger points are. So what are these things that can happen that can actually trigger? It can vary. It can be many things. Yeah. So just to give you a more extreme example, maybe at some point in time, you lost a lot of money in investment. Just assuming, yeah. Let's say you lost a lot of money in investment. You need a lot of money to actually recuperate your losses. You need to actually settle your debts and things like that. So when certain events, this sort of events happen in your life, right, they actually force this skill set out of you. So maybe you didn't know that you actually had this capacity. Maybe you didn't know that you're really good with creative thinking. You didn't know that you're actually very good with your hands. You could actually build things and sell things online. So the moment you're forced to do it, when life circumstances happen, these are called trigger points. So suddenly you realize, oh, actually I have this skill set. I didn't know that I actually had this. So it takes life experiences to sort of knock it out of you. So that is one example. Okay. All right. So, what happens if I don't have any wealth star in my hour pillar? Can I still grow wealth? I think also covered this many times. Not having it in the hour pillar does not mean that you have no capacity to make money. It just means that it's not the most important thing in your life. I do not have any companion stars, so how can I develop compulsion to increase wealth instead of merely desire to be rich? Okay, this question is a bit difficult to answer, yeah, because if you are not compelled, means you just don't think that this is the most important thing for you. It's not that you don't think it's important, it's just that you are not ready to make huge sacrifices. There's nothing that is really pushing you to actually put in that extra effort to do it. So work with what you have. Always work with what you have, yeah. Because if you're not compelled to do it, you always have other things that you want to do, other things that you actually want to achieve. So focus on that instead. Okay. So the last question, my main element is earth, but I have not worked on any earth industries. Is it still possible to switch? I ask because I'm above 50 and employees, okay, do not welcome older workers. Nobody I know in my career comes from earth sectors. Then maybe it's time to actually meet new people. Maybe spend more time in areas where there's earth people. Example, go and learn healing. You can actually pick up a course that has healing. You don't have to change the industry, but they're all healers. Make friends with them. Okay, so then you actually expand your network and you actually have new people to leverage on. All right, so I'm going to answer a few questions that you have. Let me scroll through and answer some of your questions here. Okay. Let's see. Does it come out?
Okay.
All right. This one is showing? No.
Yep.
Showing.
Is that right?
Okay, just give us a second. We are just okay. So, funeral service is which element? Funeral service is earth. Okay. And then let me see. Okay. So your month earthly branch is Yang Earth, and the main hidden stem is Wu Earth. Okay, main hidden stem element is Wu Earth. They master Yin Earth. Does this mean that my most dominant element is Earth? Okay, Yin Earth born in Earth month. Okay, I can't really tell. Yeah, is this the most dominant element? Because it can be different seasons. So, anyways, you own a school, and what is the most suitable role you can take in this field? So, Earth people are naturally quite nurturing. They are very nurturing. So, for you, your branch is Earth. So, this is the friend element. Okay, so friend element, you can actually leverage on your teachers. So make sure that you pick the right teachers to teach the subjects that you actually want. Yeah. So for you, because you're sitting on friend, so leverage on other people's strength, which means it's your teachers because you own the school. So they become your asset. Okay. Investing in forex and share market is considered what element? Forex and share market is investing. It's still trading, yeah, and it's quite fast moving. So water. And then let me scroll, yeah. Okay. Okay, hi Janelle. So if you look in the notes, right, the list of industries is actually there. Yeah, you just look back at the notes. I think it's the first video. The first video, there's a list of industries in the notes. So you can actually refer back to that. Okay, so what does the EG mean on the heavenly stem of the hour pillar? Okay, regardless of heavenly stem or not, right? As long as you have an EG in the hour pillar, if you are lacking the wealth element, the HO and EG, which is your output, will serve as your secondary wealth. Okay, so having an EG or a HO in the hour pillar or even in your month pillar is very favorable. Okay, do the wealth elements in our natal chart change after some time or some years? It was mentioned that the wealth star, companion star appear in the bottom of the hour pillar. One will have true compulsion to chase wealth, yes. What does it mean if the wealth and companion star appears on the top? Okay, so if it appears on the top, as long as it's in as long as it's in your hour, right, you will still have the compulsion. But of course, if it's in the top, do more of the selling. If it's in the bottom, do more of the creating. Okay. Okay, so Sean is a photographer. His main element in the month is earth and firewood as sub-element. What field does photography fall into? Okay, since his main element is earth, does it mean that he should photograph things that are related to earth? No, that's not how we look at it. Yeah, so if your main element is earth, maybe you should use your photography in a certain aspect, as in maybe film people who are actually healing. for one. You can actually film in a lot of environmental, or you can get these people who are in this industry to actually hire you. You see, so maybe get I'm not sure, maybe National Geographic, some sort of something like that, yeah, to actually hire you to help them shoot certain things. So you can actually leverage on industries that are earth to actually use your services. That's how you make use of your skill set. Okay. Okay, what element is hotel management? So this is actually hospitality. Hospitality is water. Hairstylist. Okay, if you are the one doing, if you are the hairstylist, then wood. Oops. Okay, accounting and tax is metal. Yes, accounting and tax falls under metal element. Okay. All right. Okay. So Marian is in, if entertainment industry is water. If so, why is singing and dancing considered wood? Okay. So the industry itself, yeah, the industry itself. If you own a pub, if you own a club, for instance, that is actually a water element. But if you are the singer, you are you are the choreographer, you are the dancer, so that will be considered wood element. Okay. Okay, so Angie, what if there's a conflict, okay, between wealth and structure? If wealth is hidden below the stem, work for company. I think wealth is actually create your own thing, right? Do your own thing, especially if wealth and output. So you are wealth and output. Wealth and output is actually suited to do your own thing instead of working for people. So you do that, yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Let's see this one. Okay, regarding the effects of having wealth element or companion element, do we interpret the same way for weekday master? At the moment, right, we don't really take weak or strong into consideration. Is the only difference between weak and strong day masters is that one is less confident than the other. That's it. But the capacity and the path of maximum return is actually the same. So the only difference is how well you take stress. The weak one doesn't take stress that well. The stronger one naturally more gung ho, more able to take stress. But it does not mean that if being weak you will forever not take risks. Yeah. So there will be times when the elements or the luck pillars will actually support you. Then you are actually stronger. The second thing is why weekday masters like resource is because resource is learning, self improvement. The more you learn, the more you go out and do things that you are afraid of, then you actually improve and you have more confidence in yourself. So the moment you have more confidence in yourself, you naturally take risks or take challenges a bit more differently. You take it better and you're not so afraid of it anymore. So that's the only difference between weak and strong. Yeah, so at this point in time, when we're identifying the areas and also identifying the path is the same, but how you actually take how you feel inside. Like Dato always say, how you feel does not matter. Just go out and do it. Okay. What is the meaning of the plus minus sign in front of the 5 elements on hidden stem? Is there actually a plus? Is there actually a plus and minus sign? No, right? No, maybe you just look back at the chart. I don't think there is a plus and minus. If there is, if there so happen to be in your chart, then it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Okay, Alan wants to know, will yang water in our month year suitable to be metaphysics in metaphysics industry is fire. Fire, if you see fire is somewhere in your month or it's one of your structure, then you're actually naturally quite suited for it. Koide Master, why we say Koide Master is that Koide Master is a bit more intuitive, or the most intuitive among all 10 day masters. So they are a bit more, they absorb this a bit faster, and they are a bit more of a natural in when it comes to metaphysics. Okay, that's the only difference. Okay, if wealth appears in the top, is there any effect? Like I mentioned just now, if it's in the top, then do a lot of selling. Do a lot of advertising, branding, selling, promoting. That is what, that will be the best way to use it. Okay. Online company dealing with travel. Online company dealing with travel is water or fire. Okay, depends on what you are actually selling. Yeah. If you are just a platform, you don't really provide the ground. You actually deal with the client. You don't actually build the whole the whole from start to end. You bring the client. You actually bring the clients to the actual location and all that. Then that will be water. But if you are just building a platform for other people to leverage on, that will be fire. Okay. Selling gemstones, jewelry, yoga mats, essential oil, anything to do with wellness and natural healing. Yes, this is earth element. Any example of natural resources? So just now I just gave you that there was a very good example just now. Healing crystals, natural resources will be crystals. And also if you are an organization that actually does earth conservation, that is also considered as natural resources. Yeah. Okay. Okay, owning a YouTube channel. Owning a YouTube channel is actually fire. So we're just going to take a few more questions here before we wrap it up. Okay. Roxanne wants to know, talent agency, marketing agency, will and trust florist, which is fire. Okay, so which is fire? Talent agency and marketing. Because will and trust is earth, florist will be wood. So the talent and marketing agency. Okay, we're just going to take two more. Let me scroll through. Broadcast. Okay. Okay, so Yinfan asks, is consultation in whatever field considered water element? Okay, you also need to see if your consultation requires strategic thinking. Yeah. So if your sort of consultation requires you to actually solve other people's problem, uh, come out with very unique solutions, you need to brainstorm a lot, then yes, it will be the water element. Okay, so one last question. Let me see. Okay, some of your questions very long. Okay, this one. Actually this one. Okay, so Lakina wants to know bakery and cafe. Bakery and cafe actually belongs to restaurant, some sort of restaurant, yeah. So it will be the fire industry. Okay, so bakery and cafe is actually fire industry. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. I hope I answered most of your questions, but we only have this much time today. But at least I tried to cover the most of your concern, and especially as a new 八字 learner, a lot of things requires practice. Yeah, so not only practice on yourself, go out and practice it on your friends, practice it on your friends and family, because the more you practice, the more confident you become. And then you will realize that it's very easy to catch, and very easy to learn, very easy to absorb when you actually involve friends and families. And then you actually get to see how it works and how it applies to them as well. Okay, so make sure you go and practice. Keep on reviewing the two videos if you're still not sure. And we hope to see you next time again with more questions. And we also to
5 more sessions.
we have 5 more sessions. Yeah, 5 more sessions. Yeah, so
The replay will be uploaded in 7 days.
5 sessions.
The replay of this session
Okay.
will be uploaded.
So this replay will actually be uploaded into your course. So if you within 7 days, yeah. So after 7 days, you can actually replay this and you can review again. Okay. So see you next time. Happy learning. Thank you.